Hello, my name is Ashley Deadwyler-Jones, and I'm here with my fabulous co-host, Andrea Evans, and we are here highlighting and spotlighting HBCU excellence, individuals who have done amazing things professionally, academically, and we've started this week with our very own Spelman sisters. So today we are going to be speaking with Miss Karan Kendrick. Some of you may have seen her on the big screen. You may know her because of what she's doing and has done in her community. But without further ado, Karan, please introduce yourself. Tell everyone who you are, all the fabulous things that you've been doing since Spelman, and what led your steps to Spelman College.
Well, first of all, thank you, Ashley and Andrea, for inviting me into conversation with you. I think this is really a wonderful example of who we are as Spelman women. We come together in times just like these to offer hope and inspiration and sisterhood. And so I appreciate you guys being such wonderful leaders in that and such great examples. Thank you. So I went to Spelman because, well, for a couple of reasons. I went to visit for one of the pre-college days. And when I walked on campus, when I stepped foot on campus, I was like, oh, well, this is where I'm going to college. It really was that simple. There was something about the atmosphere, the energy, and I feel like just the Holy Spirit was like, this is it, welcome home, you know? And so I didn't apply anywhere else. Glad it worked out because this was really my only choice. But before that, I remember I was in high school I was a part of the band. And so I was selling like band candy or something. You know how you have to go to your neighbors. And so Mr. and Mrs. Dimmons, who have a daughter, their daughter graduated from Spelman. And I believe Mrs. Dimmons graduated from Spelman as well. And I remember, doing my whole candy pitch and, they had said they were sitting on the couch listening and taking it all in. They were going to buy what they were going to buy anyway. But once we had that taken care of, she said to me, now, where are you applying to school? Where are you going to college? And I said, well, and at that time I hadn't visited. So I hadn't made that one decision. So I, rattled off this list of schools that were all great institutions. But she said to me, there's only one real choice. And I was like, well, okay. And there was something about that confidence that really spoke to me. But it also, I think, spoke to what you guys can attest to, just the depth of the sisterhood and the enriching experience that is Spelman College. Mm-hmm. If you make that choice, it is a choice not only to change the world, but the world inside of you changes. I remember we had a prompt as a theater major, and it was, when did you realize you were Black? And there were all these stories of kind of doom and gloom of, things that had happened that were kind of a negative spin on how the world sees our Blackness. But I remember feeling, no, when I came here, this is when I knew, because there was a level of, I was surrounded by Black excellence. I grew up in the community of Fort Valley State University, Fort Valley State College then. And so I knew what it was, but I believed that there was something else. There was something more. I found in Spelman women who challenged me and encouraged me and inspired me in the most beautiful way. Everywhere I looked, women were achieving on such tremendous levels, and they were not the exception. They were the rule. Mm-hmm. And it was a place where that achievement was celebrated and encouraged. And it was like, if I look to my left and I see Ashley killing it on a basketball court, right? I look to my right and I see Andrea killing it as a wise scholar, right, Andrea?
That's right. Yes.
And so these, everyone walks in as their best selves. And then there's something about the symbiotic nature of that just really encourages us to be an even better self. And so you spend 4 years of growing and being nurtured and being challenged, but in the best way. I don't remember competition as a part of our community. Maybe it was there, but I just remember people just leveling up before it was a turn. And there's something about seeing your sister grow that encourages you to grow as well. There's something about seeing your sister excel that encourages you then to try to be your best self. And I think, and you guys can attest to this, I think it still happens today. Every time I tune in and I see on Facebook, Andrea, I see you winning, you know, with a new patent or being innovative in the way that you're protecting intellectual property. When I see Ashley killing the game, you know, as a State Farm Insurance business owner, it's like, okay, Karen, now you got to do your part too. You got to step up. You got to show up in the best possible way in the lane that you're in, because this is who we are and this is what we do.
Well, look, thank you for stepping up and joining us today, because when you know, and for you to say that you just walked onto Spelman's campus and only applied to Spelman, that's saying a lot. But I want to step back, because you also said that you majored in theater. And so what's interesting about theater is that mostly, let me just say, from the people that I know, they kind of fall into acting. You know, they don't have that training. And so how did you even choose to major in theater? And did you have any pushback from your family members? Because it seems like most people would say, look, you're going to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, and you actually are an actress, but not only just an actress, a successful actress. So tell us more about how you chose that path just to even start at Spelman and major in theater.
Sure. So I'm a storyteller. It's just a part of who I am. I grew up as a storyteller. What I didn't know, I knew I wanted to be on TV. That's kind of how I defined it as a kid, but I didn't really know what that meant. I didn't know how to bridge that gap. And Spelman helped me to understand how to be a working actress. I started off as an English major because that was the practical and safe thing to do. And I thought I'll be a journalist. And, you know, that was kind of my path going in. But our first week there, you know how they do the presentations from each department?
Yep.
And the chair of the theater department did her presentation. And I was like, I'm in. I don't know what I'm going to tell my family, but this is what I got to do. And so I think on Spelman's part, there was just very practical application and very consistent exposure to working artists. My first dance teacher at Spelman was Debbie Allen. How can you not know that it's real when this incredible artist is coming to spend time and to pour into, you know, who you are and to talk to you about what she does and how she does it. And we had a slew of artists who just made it very tangible and real for us. And then the major was very rigorous and very demanding. I didn't actually go to a football game until after I graduated, because our weekends were dedicated to rehearsals. We were on that stage year round. So that part of it was just very, it was very studied. I hear a lot of people talk about following your dream and being passionate about what you do. And that's a wonderful way to start. Your dream, your passion can definitely indicate the direction that you could go in. But study and discipline is what's going to help keep you in that way. And so I think Spelman really instilled that, you know, it's a process, it's a marathon, not a sprint, and it's a career choice. And just like you do in the sciences or in business, you have a way to approach a career that is studied and consistent, and you have to put that time and that work in. As far as my family, you know, I think that they know me enough and love me enough to know that if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, you know? And so they were definitely cautious. They would ask questions to make me really think and kind of guide my way of thinking through it. But they are, they were and they are very supportive. I remember for my mom, I think it became real for her when I got insurance and like a health and pension plan. Then I was a real actress. She didn't care nothing about what stage I was on, who I was working opposite. That meant nothing to her. But when I could go to the doctor by myself and I could show her my 401k, it was like, all right, this is what you do. This is real now.
My baby has benefits. That's
right.
So Karen, look, we want you to brag right now. Tell us some of the different projects that you have worked on, some of the more notable ones. And then I want to know a little bit more about what you've done philanthropically as well in your community. But let's talk about you on the big screen first.
Sure. So I think my community as a whole was like, oh, you're legit. When they first saw me on Tyler Perry's House of Pain
Uh-huh.
and Medea Goes to Jail, then it was like, oh, you're an actor. Okay. From there, I went on to do the Hunger Games. That was something that people really, recognized. And that's when everybody was like, oh, wow, you're really in there. More recently, and I've done theater, television, film, voiceover, and your arena commercials. I see you, Miss Ashley, come through. I'm so proud of you. I see it. I'm like, Miss Ashley. So welcome, girl.
Thank you.
But more recently, I have done some feature films. I did The Hate You Give, which was kind of a different side of what I usually show. So that was incredibly fun. And then Just Mercy, I believe, just changed my life. Just Mercy, the story of Brian Stevenson, led by an incredible cast. It was such a meaningful experience in front of and behind the camera. Speaking in terms of the work behind the work, part of the most meaningful moments of that experience were when the cameras were off and we were going into the prisons and connecting with people who were currently or formerly incarcerated. And one of the things that I think permeates Brian's work is proximity. And one of the things when you get close enough to people whose experiences are different from your own, that you have to remember is that we're all in this thing together. As horrible as the pandemic is, one of the great things about it is that it reminds us that at the end of the day, we are more connected than we are disconnected. Whether we like it or not, we are all in this thing together. And we have to find a way to exist together for the good of all. And so I hope that we're able to really glean that from this collective experience. But before Hollywood, while I was still at Spelman, I used to come home in the summertime and teach what I learned. So I spend the year learning in school, and then in the summertime, I would do a summer camp and just teach the kids what I learned because I was so excited. It was another level of performing arts that I had not been exposed to. When I graduated, I spoke with my family, and with their tremendous support, we purchased property and renovated it and started to actually teach students in our community in an after-school program. So I had, we called it Bliss and Feet Center for the Arts, and we were raising little brown ballerinas and actors and musicians, and it was just a wonderful time. We've morphed into offering different community events, like live events since then. And I'm so excited about what's next. I'll have to come back and give you more details on it, but we're taking it to a whole nother level throughout the entire Southeast. And that for me is, I think it's something that you guys may remember that we heard a lot of. We have to lift as we climb.
Yes.
Yeah.
Build row for sure.
Yes, and I want to applaud you for lifting as you climb. I mean, that's saying a lot. They say that when people love what they do, they would do it for free. And you have just set the pace and the tone of this conversation by saying that you not only took what you learned at Spelman, but you went home and gave back to the community. And I just want to know, if you had to choose one experience at Spelman, one thing that happened to you that has made an impact on you today, like that one thing that you lean on and you could say, oh, because of this sisterhood at Spelman or because of this experience, this happened. Tell us about what that would be if you had to choose one thing.
Oh, there was a defining moment my first semester. So I didn't grow up in a dance studio. I didn't grow up, in kind of that formalized training version of the arts. We had activities, but I hadn't really rocked a leotard and tights, as maybe as a little bitty girl, but not as a teenager, not as a woman who had come into her body. And so I was terribly insecure. I mean, to the point of tears, to stand next to people who had trained, and I just felt like they were so put together. And I just felt like, honey, this cornbread fed country girl whose belly was billowing over all kinds of tights and pushing through leotards, I was terrified. And I was so incredibly insecure. We had this thing we used to say, and seeing my insecurities, the entire ensemble circled up around me and began to speak these words. My Blackness is the beauty of this land. My Blackness, tender and strong, wounded and wise. My Blackness is the beauty of this land. And they said it until I said it with them. And there is something about, and this actually just happened, Los Angeles is a great place to be for work, but it can also be a very isolating place. And you have to be intentional about your community, and you have to be intentional about who speaks into your life and who speaks over your life. And something like that, not the exact same thing, but people gathering to remind me of who I am. That's something that I carry with me from Spelman, and when I need it shows up again. And that's when I know. That's when okay, this is my tribe. Okay, I'm good. Yep, let's move. Let's go. We got this. I think that there's this misnomer that women don't support women, and maybe that happens sometimes, or that Black women don't support each other, and maybe that happens too. But I'm so grateful to carry with me that is not my truth. My truth is that we absolutely love each other, and we support each other, and we encourage each other. And it's just sisterhood. That's just how we define it and how we walk it out.
Beautiful. Well said. Thank you. Well, I'll tell you, what I love is what you said about us being in this together. We are here together. We're in this together. And not too long ago, I was scrolling through Instagram, and I had an opportunity to see where Tyler Perry has highlighted some amazing singers. See, you're a philanthropist, you're an actor, but a lot of people don't know that you are the voice. I remember one summer I was actually headed to New York, and see, this is how I should have known I was an entrepreneur. I said, Karan, I don't know if you know who you are yet, but when I go up to New York, if I meet somebody who knows somebody, we're putting you on. We putting you on. I said, you are the bomb.com, girl. You got it going on. So I really wish that when I was listening to that series of singers that Tyler Perry had, that I could have heard you in there too. I was like, they don't know who she is. Can you share some of that? He's got the whole world in his hands with us, so we can hear your beautiful voice as well.
Of course. Only Ashley. Ashley, I just want to say, this is a business. The flip side of the business is that it really takes it out of. It really does. Like, you have people telling you no, unfortunately, more often than you hear yeses. And so that affirmation coming from such a genuine place, I am so grateful for. And thank you you've been that since, are we saying what year we were in school? Are we doing that? But you've been there since then. Yeah. All those years ago. And so I thank you for that. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands.
Wow. What do you say to that, Andrea?
Hey, I say standing ovation, bravo, and kudos to you. Even though you may hear more no's than yeses, this has been such an inspiring interview. For me watching, I'm not an actress, but I'm inspired by you. And Karan, when you do well, we all do well. We are pushing and supporting you and rooting for you and just so proud of you. So continue to do what you do. You are just the true epitome of what it means to go out and change the world, to get to the level where you are. Those actors and actresses that are playing with you should just be honored to be in your presence. And you are just so graceful and humble. And we thank you for taking time out of your busy LA schedule to spend some time with your Spelman sisters. We appreciate that. And, during this time, people are feeling a little anxious and they're not feeling motivated. So can you leave us with some positive words that can encourage anybody else that's watching as we end the interview?
One thing that I am cherishing is the opportunity to be still and know, to be still and know that God is God, to know that this too will pass. But whatever we're feeling, there are moments of joy and excitement and laughter even now. We can choose that even now, but there are some moments of devastation. There is loneliness and depression and anxiety is what I hear a lot of, even now. And so I hope that people will remember that this too shall pass. But while you're in the moment, find the stillness in the moment. See what you can see, hear what you can hear, feel what you can feel, understand what needs to be understood. Hold on to the lesson, live in the moment, and know that it will pass.
Hey, just silence, because we have to drop the mic right there, Ashley. That's it. This was amazing. You know, just keep up the amazing work, and I'm sure everybody wants to know how they can follow you. What can we do to support you, and where can we keep in touch with you?
Thank you for asking. That's one thing I'm horrible at, and I'm getting better though. I am engaging a whole lot more. So follow me on social media. I love Instagram at Karan Kendrick Official, Karan, like a country Karen, KaranKendrick Official. I'm on Facebook at And Then She Learned to Fly, but and Karan Kendrick on Twitter. But Instagram is where I'm kicking it. So come on over, follow, like, share, and talk to me. Like, send me a message in the comments, or if you have acting questions, DM me. I respond to those, or writing questions. I'm writing now, so that's exciting. So yeah.
Thank you, Karan. You know, I love you to death, lady. And you stay
Thank
safe.
you. Thank you. You too. Thanks for doing this. This was fun. Let's do it again.